words said in the aftermath are just too confusing. Now I spend my days watching you throw stones at someone who's already dead. And if this is the way we all begin, so how can I ask for any more?
Welcome one and all to the Stages of Minnesota. I can't believe a week went by so fast. But you know what they say, a stitch in time saves 9. Now, if you know why they say that and what it means, please email me at robdunkelberger@thestagesofmn.com. Speaking of mail, let's check the Stages of Minnesota mailbox and see if we have some questions or comments from viewers this week. Let's see. Ah. Got one here. Okay. So here's one from Anonymous. That must be one of those one-name people like Madonna or Sting. I vaguely remember reading some poems in college by a poet named Anonymous. I wonder if it could be the same person. Well, let's see what they have to say. Dear Rob, please don't sing again. Okay. Well, thanks for the feedback. Let's go to the tally sheet and see what the votes are so far for Sing Again or not. So we have one vote for Sing Again. That was from Mrs. The Stages of Minnesota, who thought it was kind of cute. And, oh my God, Dad, stop. We have 3 votes from my kids, but as we all know, embarrassing your children is an important part of parenting, so those only count as half a point. So that's 1.5 votes for Don't Sing, to which we'll add one from the poet Anonymous, okay. And in the third column, Don't Put Me in the Middle, this is one very diplomatic vote for my son's fiance. So it's still wide open race and only 1.5 points separating each proposal. So if you want to weigh in on whether there should or shouldn't be singing in the Stages of Minnesota, email those votes to robdunkelberger@thestagesofmn.com. On this episode, we have reviews of 2 shows. Robin Hood from Zephyr Theater Company, which is running at Apple Farm in Stillwater, I don't know how to say that, through August 3rd, and The Music Man, which runs through August 11th at Lyric Arts, which I have no trouble saying. We also have a very brief chat with one of the stars of Robin Hood and a Stages of Minnesota favorite, Jeffrey Nolan, as well as the director of the show, Reed Sigmund. And as always, our At a Show with montage. But first, as many of you know, the Minnesota Fringe Festival starts Thursday, July 31st, which is tomorrow, if you're watching this on the day it was posted, or 3 years and 18 days in the past, if you're watching it on August 18th, 2028. But I'm going to assume you're watching it at least close to the start of the launch of the Minnesota Fringe Festival, and that will be the focus of this episode. For those who have attended the Fringe Festival before, we have a slew of artists giving you their 1-minute summary of their shows to help you decide which to put on your must-see lists. Speaking of must-see lists, my colleague, Jill Schaefer, over at Cherry and Spoon, has shared her must-see list for this year's Fringe Festival. All but one were on my schedule already, but after reading her thoughts, I've switched my schedule around so I can see that one as well. Jill also has great tips on how to navigate the Fringe Festival, and I'll link to her blog post in the show notes for those who aren't already following her. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe to Cherry and Spoon, so you'll get all of her reviews and her posts directly in your email, just like I know you already do with the Stages of Minnesota. I'm speaking directly now to those who have never fringed a day in their lives. I know it can feel overwhelming. I know you're anxious. Just 4 years ago, I was in your place, cold and alone, jumping at every postcard that was thrust into my hands, unsure what line to be in, why I was being given foam tokens and told to stand in yet another line, where the bus was taking me and why they kept asking me, is it safe? Well, I'm here to tell you from personal experience, don't get on the bus. That's not part of the Fringe. If you are on the bus, you are in the wrong place. You're most likely embroiled in some sort of clandestine scheme to steal ink and gold. At least, that's what happened to me. No, what you want to do is pick a show from the Minnesota Fringe website. Find out when and where it's playing, and go there. The Fringe is a well-oiled machine, and if you just go up to the box office table at any venue and explain this is your first show and you're not sure what to do and ask them to be gentle, they will explain it all to you. And if you ask nicely, they may even offer to hold you afterwards. Once you know what lines to be in and how it all works, the anxiety will melt away. My best advice is just to jump in. For your first year, or at least the first day, maybe find a venue that has several shows that you want to see running in succession. And just stay there. Bring along a water bottle and some snacks. It's nice not to have to break to find nourishment. But I'm going to take a firm stand on adult diapers. I think that's a step too far. There are those who disagree with me, but honestly, there are restrooms at each venue and plenty of time between shows to avail yourselves of them. Well, that's enough chit-chat. Let's see what the artists have to say about their shows. And to start them off, we have Dawn Bentley, the Executive Director of the Minnesota Fringe Festival.
My name is Dawn Bentley. I'm the Executive Director of Minnesota Fringe, and this year's festival is going to be fantastic. 99 shows, over 570 performances in 11 days.
And is there some sort of device I can rent where I can time travel and see all 99 shows? Or what's the most I can see?
The most you can see is 55. There's a few things new this year. First of all, we have BFF performances, Bring a Friend to Fringe. So you can go onto our site and look for those BFF performances and get 50% off when you buy 2 tickets in advance. Also, if you are seeing a show that has access services of ASL interpretation or audio description, you can just see those shows for free. If you need to use those services, come on in, see those shows for free. We don't want there to be a financial barrier. So those are some new things this year. Oddly enough, I'm actually in a Fringe show this year.
You are?
Yes. I am playing my violin in a show by Special Wind Lit called Fangs and Bangs and Sangs. Just a couple of different performances, but yeah, I got tapped to be a musician.
I'm here with Tim Uren, and you have a Fringe show?
I do. I'm at Theater in the Round. I have a Fringe show called This. It's a storytelling, solo autobiographical show about my weird life and all the weird things I've done. The very first word I said was this, and it's about the journey from that word to being on stage in the Twin Cities, being a game designer developer, being a Pentecostal child, believing the world was going to end in 1988. That's a weird life, and so I've crammed it all into an hour.
And when's your first performance?
Friday at 5:30, and it's one of those Fringe Bring a Friend shows, so if you get tickets in advance, you get 2 for 1.
Great. The Rarig Experimental Theater, it starts August 1st. Journey to Joy Again. Seriously, it was easier coming out as a lesbian woman than coming out as a person with a disability. It starts with coming out in college and kissing my best friend, and my feelings were not reciprocated. But I found love in the joy of lesbian sex, the book, and various women.
Well, you're here with Moats, rhymes with boats. Just remember that, Rob. Come on, thank you. My show is Box Cutter Harmonica by Paper Soul. This is my very first show that I did back in 2013. So I'm rebooting to my first show 12 years later because I want to see what kind of person I am all these years later. And it's about kind of like historical mysteries in arts and echoes and legends and mythology. And it's a really great show with some great blues music in it, First performance is Saturday, August 2nd at 8:30 in the Barker Center for dance. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm Gabriel, and the show that I wrote is called Death, a Musical. It has over 20 kids as musicians, actors. So it's an uplifting vision of life after death. It's a fun high energy musical, and we're really excited to do it. It starts August 1st at the Southern Theater.
I'm here with Ariel Pinkerton, and you have a show in the Fringe Festival?
I sure do. We are doing a almost remount of the 2016 hit The Abortion Chronicles, but we've come back with new stories this time. Given everything that's happened with the disappearance basically of Roe v. Wade, we thought it was rather crucial, and we put out a new call, and we got a whole bunch of new performers and new storytellers. I am in the Rarig Arena Theater upstairs. Well, if you want to start your Fringe off with abortion, we've got a show for you. We have a Thursday at 5:30, which is the Bring Your Friend to Fringe, so if you buy tickets in advance, you can get a 2-for-1. About the only time you're ever going to be offered a 2-for-1 for abortion.
Hi, my name is Wells Farnham. I am a lifelong Fringe waitlister who has once again come off the wait list to do a show in the festival called I Have Grievances. I'll be at the Barbara Barker Center for Dance starting on the 31st. And my show is about kind of my last show, which was a show about coming off the wait list.
Right.
And how that was a complete bullshit idea because that wasn't the show I wanted to do. I wanted to do a show making fun of my family. There was just one problem. Everybody in my fucking family got cancer. So now it's 2 years later, and I'm going to do that show about my family and also include our journey with cancer.
My name's Kyle Decker. I'm doing a show with my son Malcolm. The show is called A Completely Serious and Not at All Silly Review of Farts, Flatulence, and Flatus, a.k.a. The Fart Show, playing at Mixed Blood Theater. It's a physical comedy clowning show with lots of farts and classical music and silliness with me and a 12-year-old on stage. We open the Fringe on Thursday night at 5:30 at Mixed Blood.
Okay, I'm here with Hawk and Paul. You have a show called Hamluke.
Hamluke, yes. Hamlet plus Luke from Star Wars, which is also the premise of the show, when you get right down to it, I suppose. Thank you so much. Show this to the camera here. So, going to be doing the preview for that one tonight. I'm playing some live music for it. Very excited. Elizabethan Star Wars Fair is kind of the idea there. And I'm also going to be doing some live music for a show called 503, also in the Rarig Thrust with Jack Donkey Productions. So, keep an eye out for that one as well. Friday the 1st for Hamluke, and I'm being a bad participant by not knowing 503, but definitely mark your calendars for August the 1st.
Show. Yeah, we're doing an improvised one-act comedy called Rec League. It features Rita Boersma, Nels Lennis, Tim Hellendrung, Anna Hickey-Fotis, more people that I'm blanking right now, kind of embarrassingly. But you don't need to know anything about softball or any of that kind of stuff to enjoy the show. It is a one-act about friends in their 40s and doing all of those kind of things. So I think you're really going to enjoy it. I hope you get a chance to see it. Saturday on the 2nd. Is that what day the Saturday is? Yeah, who knows? I think it's 7 and at Strike Theater.
Sure. Hi, my name's Tim Wick, and I am doing a show called Invasive Species, or In Space No One Can Hear Your Steam, and it is an adaptation of Aliens set in a steampunk universe. It's going to be at the Rarig Thrust Theater, the Stoll Thrust Theater. We're opening on Thursday at 10 p.m., so a late night opening night.
So my name is Kendra. I'm hosting the Kendra Plant Variety Show, Good Things Edition, with special guests. It's going to be at Mixed Blood Theater. The first show is the very first day of the Fringe, July 31st at 8:30 at Mixed Blood. There's going to be 3 different acts, including burlesque, taiko drumming, and a composer, and we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sure. I'm Emily Boyage, and I'm performing in the Kendra Plant Variety Hour. And I'll perform one of my songs on being transgender, embarking on a journey, and living life in the moment, being authentic and celebrating yourself, and being crazy and enjoying it. I'll actually be doing it all myself, just me on voice and piano, so I'll be singing and playing piano at the same time.
And I really recommend hitting this show because I saw Transition last year at the Fringe twice. And that's not something I do because I want to see as many shows as possible. But I loved Transition, and I think this is a very talented person.
Thanks so much. Also, Kendra and Julie are also performing their own stuff. I have not heard their songs, but they're also very talented performers, so it should be a very silly but also very a powerful and meaningful show, so definitely it's worth going to.
I am Lawrence Ripp. I'm co-producer and director of Our Zombie Town. We from Zombie Town. I bring my own lunch. It is going to be at Mixed Blood Theater. First show August 1st. And 5 shows after that. I don't have them memorized.
That's all right.
That's all right. But anyway, it's a pastiche. It's a takeoff of the very famous Thornton Wilder play, Our Town, but with zombies.
All right, and
We have the author right here.
Hi, I'm Richard Chin. I wrote this thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so George Romero meets Thornton Wilder.
Interesting. And it looks like you maybe need to see the school nurse there.
No, I always this way. I easy bleeder. Yeah.
Gotcha.
She do that to me. She's zombie white.
Hi, I am Abby Ani. I am performing in Cabin Fever with Small Waves Theater Company. We are performing in the ballet studio at the U of M campus. Okay, so it's a queer reality dating TV show, but it's all improv. So we have our characters and we have the beats we have to hit, but the rest is improv. And we have a drag queen as our host.
Hi, my name's Max Mars. The show that I am in is called A Writer's Room, a failed documentary. We open on the 31st. We're at Open Eye Theater, and we are a sketch comedy group, and the show that we're doing is about the writing process.
All right, my name is Courtney Larson. I'm in The Professionals, a broadcast, and it is called The End. This is what the end of the world sounds like. It is about the last human-produced podcast in the world. And then our first performance date is Saturday, August 2nd at 5:30 p.m.
My name is Philip Schramm. I am a part of 4 shows, not on purpose, but just happened. I am a part of Guns the Musical, which is at Theater in the Round. I am at a part of Holidating, which is at the Rarig Experimental. I am a part of Pingprov for 1 show, which is at Southern Theater. And the last show I'm a part of is Micromedics, which is an independent venue, which will be at Strike Theater. So Guns the Musical is a musical comedy parodying a little bit about guns in society. There's more to it, but you got to come to see it. The other 3 shows, Pingprov, Holidating, and Micromedics, are all improv shows. So those will all be made off the cuff. So if you come, it'll be a different show every time.
My name is Phil Gonzalez. My show is called Trust Exorcises at the Rarig Experimental Theater. It is a improvisational storytelling solo show about the horrific experiences I and all of my classmates suffered through in our high school theater department, but also it's very energetic and funny, and you never know what's going to happen every night. It's a different show every single night. July 31st at 5:30.
Well, my name is Rob Ward. I am in a show called An Exorcism, Don't You Know? And we, I got the card right here a bit. So the show is about, it's essentially The Exorcist with Lutherans. Oh, yes. It's church basement ladies that encounter a demon. It's hilarious. It's funny. It's scary. And we are going to be at the Barbara Baker Center right down the street there.
Hi, my name's Adam. I'm in 2 shows. One of them is Micromedics, and the first show is...
Oh, boy.
Director?
There's this wonderful Minnesota Fringe Festival website that has all of the dates and times for your perusal. I'm Will Schroeder. I'm in Micromedics and Holidating and Pingprov for 1 night. Yep. And... again, this wonderful website that you can look up on a search engine.
I'm also in Pingprov. I know that for sure is August 5th. I'm in a duo, and then we get to be in the big group of doing Pingprov, which is a fun thing that I've got to do a couple times. So Micromedics is a nice combination of strong relationship scenes that really dive into, the connection that we have together.
And
but
the
also
other side of it is these really little doctors. We took these doctors, we made them really little. They're so little that these doctors can go right inside of you and solve diseases from the inside out, usually with guns, a sword,
pills,
diplomacy,
and a little bit of ingenuity.
And a lot of heart.
Mm-hmm.
Little doctors with big hearts.
Whether it moves me to cheers or tears, puts me to sleep, or gets me up on my feet. These are my Minnesota Honest Reviews. Truthful, but not hurtful. My pick of the week is Robin Hood, which is being performed out of doors at Amondu's Apple Farm in Stillwater, Minnesota. This is a first for both the stages of Minnesota and the show's director, Reed Sigmund. Sigmund, a well-known Twin Cities actor, is making his directorial debut with this production. And for me, unlikely as it may sound, it is my first time attending a Zephyr Theater production. We'll hear directly from Reed Sigmund and one of the cast members who Stages of Minnesota followers will be familiar with, Jeffrey Nolan, after the review. Sigmund's greatest gift as a director is in the casting of the play and then empowering the cast to bring their own voices to their characters and the production. The character work in this show is strong and so funny that one doesn't know if it's the script or the performers that make it so hysterical. This version of Robin Hood's tale uses an interesting framing device in which 5 actors appear as a group of unhoused people and share with each other, and thus the audience, the legendary story, which they then enact. The set design and costumes come from items that one might expect to be found discarded in such an encampment. These aspects add a touch of appropriate timeliness to what is primarily a hilarious entertainment. I loved Sherwood when I saw it a couple of years ago at Theater in the Round, which also featured the comedic genius of Jeffrey Nolan. I think this version of Robin Hood is my new favorite comic take on the folklore hero. The temperature was 109 in the shade, and everyone in the audience was so entertained by what we were seeing that we forgot to even sweat. The usual question Mrs. the Stages of Minnesota and I always ask each other is, who was your favorite? But as you might expect, the question this time is, who was your favorite character played by Jeffrey Nolan? I'm going to go with Prince John, but the 5 other characters tie as a close second. Nolan is enough to get me to any production, as faithful readers will no doubt have realized by now. A more original and unique comedic voice you will not find. It feels like only a matter of time before we see him on SNL. What pushes this show into the stratosphere is the rest of the cast. Finding 4 other performers who aren't going to be overshadowed by Nolan, particularly in a comedy where he plays about 6 different parts, including a horse, 7 if you include a remarkable though brief portrayal of a deer, is an amazing feat. But that's what we have here. Grace Hillmeyer, who readers will also be familiar with as someone who has impressed us in every role we've seen her in since first coming to our attention in Kinky Boots at Lyric Arts, plays, among other roles, Maid Marian. Hillmeyer again shows us a new aspect of herself and her talent with this comedic side that previous roles had only hinted at. 2 of the performers I wasn't familiar with. Antonia Collins, I apologize, Miss Collins, if I've gotten that wrong, who plays Robin Hood, and Brandon Brooks as the sheriff in Nottingham. From what I gather, Collins has been racking up small supporting roles at the Children's Theater Company. Well, I hope the people at CTC see this production because Collins is clearly ready for leads, which I hope to see her in again very, very soon. Brooks had apparently stepped away from acting a bit. Clearly, on stage is where he belongs. He is the villain of the piece, but the kind of villain you love to watch. It feels like we're watching the convergence of the next group of actors that will be the ones who moved on to bigger cities, please don't, or become those we see constantly working at all of the big theaters around town. The cast is rounded out by Jay Scoggin, who has a few small roles but mostly plays live music and provides sound effects throughout the show, which is such a fun treat. I love a live musical score in a play, especially when they are on stage and you get to watch them creating the soundscape. When Scoggins does join in the show, he's as funny as the others and very, very protective of his skittles. The Zephyr Theater's production of Robin Hood runs through August 3rd at Unwarrant Apple Farm in Stillwater, Minnesota. This is a great show to take the whole family to, but don't think on it too long, as there's just one more weekend to catch it. For more information and to purchase tickets, we'll link to the show's website in the show notes. The Music Man is one of a handful of musicals that I was very, very familiar with growing up, mainly from the 1962 film version starring Robert Preston and Shirley Jones. What's nice about this show is it's fun for the whole family. I was only 8 when I fell under its spell, and I hope families will use this production as a way to introduce their 8-year-olds to the joys of a good old-fashioned musical. It's one of the few musicals where the book, music, and lyrics were created by one person, Meredith Willson. It is brimming with memorable songs, Iowa Stubborn, Goodnight My Someone, Wells Fargo Wagon, Till There Was You, and that brass extravaganza, 76 trombones. For those who don't know, the music man of the title is Professor Harold Hill, Gary Conservatory Music Gold Medal Class of '05. Or at least, that's what he wants the citizens of River City, Iowa to believe. In reality, he's a flim-flam artist who works his way across the country town by town selling the idea of a boys' band. The idea is the key word, because he sells them the instruments and the uniforms and then skips town with the money without teaching the boys to play a note. In fact, he doesn't know one note from another. What he can do is keep everyone off balance long enough that they don't realize there's never going to be a band. His first step is to create a need for a boys' band. When he learns that the town has just gotten its first pool table, he uses it to rile up the citizens by pointing out the slippery slope to corruption that the pool table represents to the youth of River City, which he points out in the song, You Got Trouble. That's trouble with a capital T, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. Well, it's hard to argue with that logic. Step 3, keep the music teacher off balance so that she doesn't expose him as a fake before he collects and gets out of town. Of course, the music teacher isn't like the other ones he's come across in his travels. This is Marion, the librarian. He will find himself as off balance as she is by the end. The key to the success of any production of The Music Man is the casting of Harold Hill and Marion. Lyric has great performers in each role. Tony Potts has the charm and charisma necessary to sell his character's ability to talk anybody into almost anything. He almost convinces Paul Rayburn's Mayor Shin to purchase an instrument for a son he doesn't even have. The role of Marion, which is played by Nadia Frazen, requires an exquisite voice, which she certainly has. The show is filled with great supporting players as well, from the always hilarious Alex Stokes, who finds a way to distinguish himself from the other 3 members of the school board/barbershop quartet, with his performance and unique comic timing. To the talented young folks, Maddox Tabalba as Winthrop and Ava Fox as Amaryllis, but there's one performer whom I'm not even sure had a single line of dialogue that really wowed me, and that was William Kroger. If I had to guess, I'd say he was 6 or 7 years old, at most, but he's as precise in his choreography, maybe more so, than some of his adult castmates. Sometimes you see a performer that just has it. It's a little early to say for Kroger, but he seems to have the natural ease on stage that it takes for a great performer, if he chooses to pursue it. He's one to keep your eyes on. The show is directed and choreographed by Laurie Kraft, who does a great job of keeping the action fluid and the cast moving in the lyric arts smallish stage. The dance moves, particularly in 76 trombones, are impressive, with that scene feeling like carefully controlled, planned, and executed chaos. Greg Vaslow's design consists of just a few pieces that are reconfigured quickly, creating different locales, and at times are moved by the cast members to create the illusion of movement. The Music Man is a favorite musical of the stages of Minnesota, and Lyric Arts production does this piece of American musical theater justice. Strong performances, wonderful choreography and direction, and a smart and creative production design make this a great show to enjoy in the hottest summer days. The Music Man runs through August 10th at Lyric Arts in Anoka. We'll link to the theater's website in the show notes so you can purchase tickets. I'm here to see Robin Hood. I'm going to talk with Jeffrey Nolan, who is appearing in the show. My first question is, how do you pronounce where we are?
Amit's Apple Orchard.
You are playing multiple characters. What roles are you playing tonight?
Okay, I've got Friar Tuck, Little John, Prince John, an unnamed soldier, I've called him Algernon, and Will Scarlet, the Merry Man, and a horse, who's a very important character. Don't miss out on the horse.
This a play you've done before or seen before?
This specific one, no, though I know it was at CTC a bit ago, but I was 2 years ago in another production of Robin Hood called Sherwood, where I was the sheriff. Very different vibe of our sheriff here in this one, which has been really fun to see. So, and it's excited to return back to the characters.
Now, this is Reed Sigmund, who we saw floating around here, but had to run off. This is his directorial debut. Was he a terrible director?
Horrible. No, he was fantastic. I've admired his work for many years, and so it's been lovely to work with him. And really what he did was just kind of set up parameters for us and then say, go play. Go have fun, right? Here's the lines, and then as long as you color within the lines, you're great. And that's wonderful. That's been fantastic. And just here and there, he's just trimming some things, but he's been great, and it's been just a lot of fun working with everybody.
This production of Robin Hood, how is it different from other productions?
I think this one, the amount that we change character and we're running around, I think this is really fast-paced and frenetic. I think it's really funny. I think there's a lot of heart in it, and it's been so fun to tell this story. Our framing device on it is that there are some unhoused people who come together to put on the story, and I think having that be a framing device and having all of our sets and props be found objects and focusing on how this story is done by just regular folk coming together to tell a story and inspire and uplift each other is really important to me. And so that's what I like about this version of Robin Hood.
And who's playing Robin?
Robin is played by Niecy Collins. She's a big actor at CTC. She's been there for a couple years now. She's been phenomenal. Can't speak more highly about her.
Tell us about your Fringe show.
Yes. So on the closing night of Robin Hood is also the opening night of my Fringe show. I'm doing a show with Jack Donkey Productions. It's called 503. It's based on an old book called We by Yevgeny Zamyatin. It's similar to 1984, and it's about an authoritarian, totalitarian society and one man trying to navigate through that and what boundaries he finds that he's constrained by.
And you wrote the show.
I wrote it, and I am the sole actor in it. Hawk and Paul is doing music for it, and I'm so grateful to have him. He's wonderful, but it's a lot of me.
What's next for Jeffrey Nolan after the Fringe Festival?
After the Fringe Festival, I am writing another piece for Melancholics Anonymous. I'm writing a piece for their Horror Fest. The Last Menagerie is what it's called. So that I'm very much looking forward to, as well as seeing their Fringe show, of course, Joan of Arc for Miss Teen Queen USA. Mm-hmm.
Thanks for talking to me, Jeffrey. Good luck, and I'll see you on stage shortly and at the Fringe Festival.
Thank you.
Thanks. I'm here with Reed Sigmund, who this is your directorial debut, is that correct?
First time directing a show. So I don't know that I know what I'm doing, but I'm trying real hard. I know what I like and I know what I don't prefer, if that's a better way to say it. Yeah, I've borrowed and cherry picked from the directors I've had over the years and taken a little bit from everybody and applied it to my own aesthetic. And honestly, then I just cast the best people in the world for this show, and they're crushing it, and I don't really have to do anything.
Well, Jeffrey said that you're a great director, so
He did?
Yes, he did.
Wow.
But
That's
he.
not what he told me.
So, why did you choose Robin Hood for your directorial debut?
I think anytime I see a show or I'm going to do a show, the question I always ask myself is why? Why this show? And then more specifically, why at this moment? So, especially for my first time doing this, it was like, I'm not going to direct something unless I feel I have something to say and something to say in this exact moment. And also, I wanted people to come and see a show that they know the name a little bit of and they're excited to see, but they have certain expectations. And while I want to give them the legend that they expect, I want to challenge all those expectations and make them see this story and then see how it fits into our world in a completely new way. And I think this team of actors absolutely does that.
What's unique about this Robin Hood script?
You know, Greg Banks, I was in the original production at Children's Theater back in 2010, and the framing device that he has is truly beautiful. The whole idea is that you're at an unhoused encampment for people who have nowhere else to go and have nothing, and they're talking about their strife, and they're talking about their struggle, they're talking about oppression, they're talking about wealth and the inequity of it, and as they start talking about it, one of the unhoused people starts singing the song of Robin Hood. And one of them's like, what are you talking about? I don't know anything about that. And then they slowly just kind of evolve into telling the story. It's a very natural transition. But then everything that they use, whether it's the set, whether it's costume pieces, whether it's props, are things that you would find likely discarded or that isn't being used anymore. And that becomes our entire world. So the whole show involves a lot of object transformation and really invites the audience in to use their imagination, be part of the show. And I like shows that happen with an audience and ask them to come along on the ride instead of just coming at them. So this show is really successful. This script is very successful in doing that.
How do you feel about directing now? Is that something you want to move more into?
You know, I've loved it. This team has made me fall in love with it, but it's certainly not something I'm pursuing or chasing after. If the right opportunity comes along at the right time, and like I said, the story has a really good why, and the timing has a really good why, I would absolutely do it again. But, you know, next I got Treasure Island at CTC, and then Grinch, and then Wizard of Oz, which are all stories that I love that I think are all important for this time as well. They have wonderful whys. So we'll just see what happens.
So Grinch is coming up, and you've been doing that for how many years?
This is my 8th time playing the Grinch, and it'll be my 10th time doing that production.
In Treasure Island, I assume maybe Long John Silver is who you're
I'm
playing?
Long John Silver, that's right. So I even got the ears pierced for the role. So I didn't have those before. Yeah, so I'm evolving into full pirate because we start rehearsal on Tuesday.
Excellent. Well, thanks for taking time to talk to us. Congratulations.
I appreciate you being here.
You bet.
And if you have time, please visit us. It's a lot of fun. They're amazing.
Great.
Do I really have to go? Hard pressed to find a reason to brave the cold. So warm inside your cabin, give me just another moment. Wrapped inside the blanket of your body, the blanket of your body. Time to hit the open road. Loving arms await me, their domain knows me alone. Never a single question, 35 years full of holiday cheer, and still no invitation for my +1.
Well, that does it for another episode of The Stages of Minnesota. I want to thank everyone who took time out to talk to me at the first Fringe preview. We'll, of course, put a link in the show notes to the Minnesota Fringe website. I encourage you to check in with my blog at www.thestagesofmn.com daily during the Fringe Festival to see my reviews of every show I see, including my The Stages of Minnesota Fringe of the Day Award winner for the best show I see each day. If you see me at the Fringe, don't be shy. Say hi. Tell me what your favorite shows of the festival are. Or, if you're in a show, tell us about it like the artist did tonight. I'll have these buttons and fans to hand out. Let's get a video or a photo and put you on the stages of Minnesota. And remember, if it's your first time at Fringe, the most important thing to remember is don't get on the bus. There are no Fringe shows that take place on a bus, at least not this year. Next week, there won't be the usual episode on Wednesday. Instead, we'll try and put up a series of mini episodes throughout the Fringe Festival, which runs through August 10th. Then, we'll be taking a week off to recover from Fringe and be back with a new episode on August 20th, with the first installment of a new segment we call What the Hell's a Theater Blogger? With special guest Jill Schaefer of Cherry and Spoon. Then, on August 27th, we'll have a look ahead at the 2025-2026 theater season. There are 10 times too many theater companies to highlight in an episode, so that is going to be a sponsored episode. Theater companies, if you're interested in having your theater's season spotlighted on that episode, reach out to me or keep an eye on your email boxes for information on the process. As always, if you have comments, questions, suggestions of topics you'd like to see covered, are interested in supporting the Stages of Minnesota by sponsoring an episode, or want to cast a vote on whether or not there will be singing in future episodes, you can email me at robdunkelberger@thestagesofmn.com. Thanks as always to Ryan Lee for the generous use of his music. Every note of music used on the Stages of Minnesota comes from one of his albums, which you can find at ryanlee.bandcamp.com. You can read all my reviews on my blog at thestagesofmn.com. Whether you're watching the YouTube edition or listening to the podcast version, you should know that no matter what, I'll always love you. If you enjoyed the show, please help spread the word. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and review the show. It's not like I'm asking you to donate a kidney. Today is the last day to take advantage of our July special to get half off on your free subscriptions to the Stages of Minnesota. Till next week, as Carol Jackson plans to say in her Tony Award acceptance speech, go see a show. And hey, stay cool over the summer, and it was great sitting with you at lunch this year.
'Cause it's all over but the shouting. Every soul needs light, but mine's been wasting away in the afternoon shade, out of sight. And I am not the pure and perfect one, but my branches are still bent toward